LECA, LECA, LECA. What in the world is LECA? Lightweight, expanded clay aggregate. We just call it LECA for short. And what it technically means is these clay pebbles. And when people are referring to LECA, often they're just saying Semi Hydroponics, something that is sitting within water. So we're essentially growing these plants within just rocks, air, water, and nutrients. And that gets to why people might want to grow with LECA. First and foremost, it just grows a lot faster. Hydroponics typically is about 30 to 40% faster growth and bigger growth than soil on average. I've been growing in hydroponics for about 14 years and using LECA throughout the whole process. It's my favorite aggregate to use in the hydroponics world. So not only do you have faster growth with LECA, you have a lot less root issues typically. There's a lot less chances for overwatering and underwatering, and there ends up being a lot less issues with root rot. But root rot can occur in semi-hydroponics. This water needs to be changed frequently. The oxygen needs to be put back into the water. Also, LECA is a lot cleaner than dirt. There's a lot less mess when transplanting, and if you're in an apartment, it can be really nice to kind of just use rocks and water as your primary way of growing. There's also far less pests and bugs with LECA. With soil, a lot of your soil dwelling insects like your fungus gnats will live within this top layer of the soil. With LECA, they're not gonna have really anywhere to go, and we tend to keep this medium sterile using hydrogen peroxide and bleach, whereas this is a very active and live culture within this soil. So you'll get just a whole lot less bugs. Now to get started with semi-hydroponics, you're gonna need a straight container. You could use the container within a container, a net pot within a glass container, or something ideally opaque so that your roots don't get algae. But this is a fine thing to start off with, and you can upgrade at a later point. You're gonna need a part A nutrient that we make here and a part B nutrient. These are micro and bloom from companies like General Hydroponics and Advanced Nutrients. If you're already doing LECA, you're familiar with the 3-part micro, grow, and bloom. But we just use the micro and the bloom of the 3-part, and we'll show you how to mix those if you want to use our style of mixing nutrients. And of course, you'll just need some LECA itself. So now we'll go work on converting this soil houseplant into a LECA container. We just want to really knock away any of the soil really gently with our hands. Just be really gentle and just kind of shake it out. You can gently tap on something hard, like this bucket. Next, I like to soak the root ball inside of some water, kind of swish it around. That will get off a good amount of the soil. Ideally, I had a hose, but I live in an apartment, so this is the best option. Because we don't want to take chunks of dirt and then soak them into water in the semi-hydroponics. That will create rot. So we want to rinse away all of this. Pretty good. Okay, so now we have our desoiled plant, our container that we're going to plant into, and our bag of LECA. And we put this together as a simple kit that you can get on our website. It just gives people a really simple and easy way to get right into LECA without it costing a lot of money or being super confusing. So we're going to kind of mark where we want our plant to eventually sit. So I kind of want it to sit just like that. So I'm going to fill in with LECA about 3/4 of the way. Now that we're in, I'm just gonna fill in around the root zone and kind of let it filter in and fall into place. Okay, now we're fully transplanted. We're gonna just get a gallon of tap water and our nutrients together to make our solution. So we made this a very simple 2-part formula for the nutrient, and it doesn't necessarily need to be pH'd. We add some things into the micro and the bloom to stabilize the pH, so none of the water needs to be pH'd, and no grow is used within this mixture. So part A, we're going to use between 2 and 6 milliliters, and of part B, it's going to be between 4 and 12 milliliters. Part B is always twice the amount of part A, hence the size of the bottles. So since this is a relatively new plant, we're going to go with the lower side and kind of step our way up. So we'll use 2 milliliters of part A, which is a stabilized micro. Put that straight into the water. Never mix the part A and part B together. And then between each nutrient, make sure to shake the bottle and mix it. So part A is in, now we're gonna do part B. It will be 4. Since part A was 2, this will be 4. So we'll go up to the 3, then we'll add in 1 more. We also include a pipette within your kit just to make measuring nutrients very simple. Finally, we'll add in some B1 vitamins and we'll do 5 drops per gallon. This will help deal with the transplant shock, if any. We do also include some pH down within your kit if you want to use it, but it isn't necessary. The pH of this will be right around 6.2 to 5.8, depending on which mixture or concentration you use of these nutrients. Remember that the larger your plant is and the more established it is and the more light it gets, the more nutrients. So that's when you'll be going up to something like 6 of this and 12 milliliters of this per gallon of water. But again, once you put that in and add in your vitamins, your pH should be pretty stabilized. Most tap water comes out between 7 and 8 pH, and that's what we've set up this nutrient program for. So now our water is mixed. We're just going to pour until the water reaches the bottom of the root mass. You want to go about 1/3 of the way up the roots. The roots act as little capillaries, so they'll draw that water up themselves. And then you're gonna wanna change this water out every 2 weeks. And when you do that flush, simply I'll wrap my fingers around the plant and hold the rocks back and just pour out the water and then swap it in. Of course, you can do it more often, but the goal of that is to reintroduce the oxygen back into this root zone, since these roots are just sitting in kind of an old water solution. Remember, in active hydroponics, we're constantly bubbling this water, adding oxygen back in. So make sure to change out this water. In between cycles, you can splash a little hydrogen peroxide kind of over as a rinse just to clean out any sort of pythium or root rot that might occur. You want to have white fibrous roots. If you get any brown or slimy roots, you have a potential of root rot. And again, like I said, this is not ideal being a clear container. It's not ideal that I don't have a net pot inside of it like this one, but I just wanted to show people a really simple way to get going with LECA in a cheap, affordable way that you can do right at home. Everyone's got a jar or a vase that they can use, or a cup. If you did enjoy the video, please click the like button down below. It does help us out. And if you want to get into LECA, we specifically made this kit to be affordable and user-friendly. So check one out down in the description below.